Way up here, huh? Holy cow!
Welcome to 3D Accuracy, where I'll talk about 3D printing, 3D product design, and 3D injection and die-cast mold design.
I have to caulk around the doors, the one on the side here and the one in the back at the other end of the shop. I've got to seal around those, and then we're ready to paint. We're going to do some painting today. That's exciting because the next step after getting all the painting done is getting the floor down. And so I'm a little anxious to get the floor down. I want to get this done because I have a couple of 3D printing projects coming up for customers. One's in the middle of design that I'm designing a couple of products for a customer. And I want to get the machines back up at ASAP because I know I've got these projects coming down the pipe and want to be ready for them. I don't think I'll finish all the painting today because I have to do the walls and then I have to do the border around the bottom of the shop. And I also need to open the doors later this evening and paint around the doors, the areas that I can't reach with the doors closed. And it's hot out again today, so I don't want to open up until later in the evening when it cools and I can get that done. Okay. To work, got to get stuff done. 4th of July, we're working. 3D accuracy is working. Hey, why not? Let's get the job done.
I've got a very precarious corner here. I have to caulk around the back edge of this molding, and it's right against the wall here, and there's very little space. So what I did was I cut the tip on the tube, I cut it at an angle. You see how I cut it at a very steep angle so that I can hold the caulking gun in this direction and get the caulk to go out the side and go into the crack. And look at that. It works very, very nicely because there's not a lot of room to get in there. So all I got to do is run the caulk up and then I'll run my finger down there and smooth it out. But I just wanted to let you see that, to let you know it works. You know, cutting a real sharp angle on the side of the, let's see if I can get it to focus here, on the side of the tube of caulk worked well because I can get behind the, it shoots it right in behind the molding and it makes the job a whole lot easier. So anyway, just a little tip, wanted to show you that. It's about 8:50 p.m., 4th of July, Sunday evening. I can hear the fireworks. And I'm still in the shop. I've been doing this and that. Let me show you what I've done. I decided to put a bead of caulk along the crack at the bottom. Even though the spackle filled in most of it, it did a really good job. I decided to go ahead and put a bead of caulk around anyway, just in case, and keep it clean. And I did around the doors, and I did around the door over there, and put a bead of caulk along here. And then I also discovered I had another crack in the floor over here. And so I've been patching this crack. It was underneath the machine and the lawnmower, and then I tweaked a little bit over here. I wanted to seal the rest of this off, and so I went ahead and did that. And then I had another crack over here that was right underneath the car, and so I took care of that and sealed along here, and everything's been caulked, and all this has been caulked around here. And so we've been playing a little bit, my wife and I, just having a easy kind of a day and out in the garden a little bit. And so I've been back and forth between the shop and the garden. So I still feel like doing some painting. So I got out my brushes and this brush here, this is the brush I'm going to use. And I'm going to paint tonight. I'm going to paint maybe a couple hours. I'll see what I feel like. But I'm going to do the edging along the top, along the between the ceiling and the wall. That's what I'm gonna do. And then down the cracks on the side, I'm just gonna edge, because the rolling with the roller, that goes zip, 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 and that's all done. It's the edging that takes time. And I always use a big brush when I do the edging around the perimeter. I never use tape. I never put tape down. It's to me, it takes a lot of time. It's, you got to pay for the tape, you paint over it, and then you throw it away. And it doesn't always leave a good clean line anyway. The trick to it, if you use tape, and painters will know this, is you want to use kind of a dry brush. You just get a little bit of paint on it and then go over the edge of the tape where you want to paint and do a clean line. Let that seal it. If you put a lot of paint on the brush and you put tape down, it'll leach up underneath the tape, and then when you peel the tape off, you've got a big mess, especially on a textured wall. It's not gonna seal really well. It's gonna bleed right underneath the tape. So I always do it with a big brush. Sometimes people will, think that, oh, it's little precise work, use a little brush, but no, it's much easier to use with a big brush. You can get more paint, you can put a nice, clean, even line. It just takes a little patience and a little time, and you learn how to do it. But I've always painted just with the brush. So anyway, let's get at it. Way up here, huh? Holy cow! Holy cow!
Look at this little edge. You would think that this small brush would do the job better than a big brush, but it doesn't. It's much easier to control the width of the big brush than it is the width of the small brush. So I can get that line right where I want it, just by using the edge. And it works. That's the way my dad taught me how to do it when I was 19 years old. Long time ago. Long time ago. Right, long I see the spot I don't like. I need just a touch more right there. There we go.
Now, normally, if I'm painting the ceiling first, which I'm not, but if I were, I would paint the ceiling and then paint down about an inch or inch and a half, and then paint this up against and make a nice clean line. Because if you try to paint both two different colors together on a certain line, it's next to impossible and it always looks bad. So you're better to just overlap and then make one there. Nice. I like it. But this is the part that takes all the work, is doing the trim. Once everything is trimmed, all the cracks in the wall, where the walls meet in the corners and the edges in the bottom along the baseboard, rolling it goes fast. This is what takes the time.
Okay, tell me how to do this. That's good.
The guys who I think that paint that are really have a lot of skill are the guys that do pinstriping on automobiles that don't use tape. They brush it by hand, and I've seen those guys do that, and it's like, oh man, nerves of steel to do that and not mess it up.
What do we got here? Some bug decided to become a paint, huh? Dang it. You know what you in there. Yeah, see, so bug lands on it. You don't need it. That's it. is a little different because it's in the corner. Gotta tack it just a little differently. Come on, lay down. Gotta spot that. Yeah. There we go. That got it. It's coming.
We're painting. We're on to the painting. Hooray! A change of pace. So I got a little bit done yesterday, and let me show you what we're up to. Okay, just a quick preview for anybody who didn't see the video yesterday. I got a little bit of painting done. I'm doing along the edges, up on the walls, all the cracks and corners and edges, so that I can get it ready to go with the roller and paint. It took me a little longer yesterday to get to the painting than I had hoped, because I forgot I had to vacuum the floor, I had to clean everything, all the edges, you know, vacuum up all the dust, because you don't want to paint that garbage into the, you know, into the paint. That's not a good thing. So I'm working on the top side. You see I've got over the top of this door, and I've got, you know, up along the ceiling in most places. And then when I finish with the top, then I'll come along the bottom and do that in preparation for rolling. Now I got a couple areas that are gonna, you know, hold me up a little bit, because it takes longer to paint around things like this than it does to do the edge along the top. You know, I got to get around the water heater. I have to get around the door. I got to get in that little corner. I got to get, you know, I got to remove all the light switches and that kind of stuff. And I've got this goofy pipe running along the wall that I got to paint around. So it'll take me a little bit longer. I've got roughly half of it done. I've got from that corner over there all the way back, almost to the end of this wall. You see, I'm not too far. I got another 20 feet or so, and then I've got this back edge done. And so I was hoping I could get around and finish it today, but I don't know. It's taking a little longer than I thought. And of course, when I get to the front side, I got to get around all the, you know, door opening mechanisms and all that garbage. So it takes a little more time to paint around that. But we'll get going and see what happens. Get as much done as we can. I want to get the painting done so I can move on to the floor, and that'll be another project in and of itself. But one step at a time. Okay, let's get to work.
Now.
I just pushed the door forward. I disconnected it, put a 2x4 in there to hold the door away from this wall so that I can paint this part. The top is already painted. I already have that done. But right here along the edge, I have to paint it. But the door is in the way, so I got to move the door up. Then I can get at it.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing.
Wow.
All right, which side do I want to start on?
I just hope it's rising enough before I have to close the door. I get very close from above the door. Above the position. Come on. See the picture of those?
Maybe he liked me smell, huh?
Very nice and light. Yeah, I wish I could paint this without all this hardware here, all these brackets and stuff in the way. So I don't like slopping them over with paint. And this is not something I can remove. So it's a messy proposition.
I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you're ever in need of 3D product design, 3D injection mold design, 3D die-cast mold design, or 3D printed prototypes or production parts, please feel free to contact me. You can find contact information in the video description. I look forward to hearing from you and to being of service to you. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate it. See you on 3D Accuracy's next video.